Welcome to another chit chat session. I would like to talk to you guys about how I decided to go study abroad and what I have learned in the last 10 years. So I have been 3 different countries, so Singapore, Australia and the UK. And it's only when I come to the UK and Australia that make a big difference to my education. So when I come to Australia, I learned that the language is very different. So the way that Australians speak English is almost different from the rest of the world, and how people over in Australia speak English. And when I come to England, that's another level of difference. That's another level of classiness. So I had to relearn the language twice actually. I remember the first day going to Australia not being able to understand the cashier at the sushi bar, very embarrassing. Also the first day that I came to a class in London, because the tutor was from North Yorkshire, having an accent I couldn't really understand, because this is so different to the way that Australians speak English. And Australians speak English is just so different to the way that my foreigner teachers in Vietnam speak English as well. So that's what I learned about studying abroad. I have to adapt to the way that people speak the language. The second thing is I got to learn the culture. So when I was in Australia, it's quite a chilled, relaxed, sort of laid back culture that everyone was having, and you can sort of see that from the way that they speak the language. They have quite a lot of slangs, and the way that they track the word down can embrace some laziness. And when you come to England, of course, the culture is a little bit different. Everyone here is more committed to their work life, or I should say more dedicated to what they choose to do with their career or their jobs. And because of the weather as well, you learn that the culture is slightly different. In Australia, people like to do barbecues and sit in the sun, go to the beach. And in the UK, people like to be in warm restaurants, or people like to be in the pub, or people like to be in just warm and nice and warm places like the theatre or the cinema. And the fact that I go to different countries as well mean that I get to meet different students from different countries as well. So I have quite a lot of friends from Spain. I have quite a lot of friends from Poland. I also have quite a lot of friends from the Philippines and Thailand. And that just means that I get to learn their cultures as well. I know how to cook their food. I know how to behave when I'm in a group of people that from these different countries. And another thing is that when you get together with these people, you learn more about the culture. So whenever you go into class and then there's like a cultural aspect of your learning or your education, or let's say you're doing an assignment, and there's always some sort of cultural aspect that needs to be brought into the assignment for it to be at the top or to the next level. And you can always use that wealth of knowledge and that wealth of cultures that you actually learn just from making friends to really be the top of your subject. Another thing about studying abroad is that you get to be so independent. So you no longer have your parents over, you no longer have your brothers or sisters around, you no longer have the friends that you used to go out with a lot. That just means that you've got to work on yourself as a project. So I needed to work on my time management. I worked on my discipline, I worked on housekeeping, I worked on managing all my tasks, so that going from home housework, like home duty, housework, to university, assignment, exams, and then is training, working out, exercises, and then it's actually part-time job as well. And back at the time I was having a boyfriend as well, so that in the system as well. So you've got to learn all these skills to like be independent. nobody's gonna be there to like feed your emotion, and nobody's gonna be there to just unconditionally willing to help you or like to take care of you when you need to. You always have to ask for it. So another point that I want to address is that when you're out there in another country, of course there are going to be times where you feel like you failed, or you feel like you didn't achieve the thing that you wanted to achieve. Just learn to stand up right where you felt, and just learn that there are going to be mistakes along the way, and the more mistakes you make, the better you're going to become. And I think one negative part about studying abroad is that I don't get to see my parents a lot. I don't get to see my family and my friends a lot. Just mean that the further I go and the longer that I am away for, it creates a big gap in culture between my mum, my dad, myself, and my siblings and my friends as well. So whenever I do have the chance to go back to see them in person, there's always a clash in culture, which I don't really like. But I think over time and as I grow up, I learn to accept that fact. And I just need to understand that, okay, if I go out here and accept the fact that my friends are from different countries and they behave differently, when I come home, I need to respect that my mum and my dad is from a different generation, and I should respect what they think about me, and I should respect what they think about how I behave as well. So just learn that you don't need to argue with them. Just learn that you need to respect them, and they are entitled and they do have the right to think in certain ways. You do not need to try and manipulate their thinking into thinking the same way as you do. And I think that's quite a good lesson for myself as well. What do you think?